Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, it's a little bit past the autumnal equinox, and it's one of those things. Days are getting shorter, shadows are starting to get longer, and it's time to start prepping the lawn for winter. So, it's about that time of year again, and I don't mean time for snow shovels. So, we just went from about 80-degree days to suddenly 50-degree temps for highs. So it's time to take the lawnmower and change the height. For me, on the riding lawnmower, I mow at H in the summertime. That way it gives us maximum amount of height to the grass. I do that because in the summertime, I don't want to have the grass too short, and having a little bit extra shade on it by having the extra little grass blades helps kind of keep the lawn cool, as well as keeping the little bit of water that it may wind up accumulating. So it winds up helping it, survive the summertime. Well, now that it's getting cooler and I've got cool season grasses, it's time to start mowing lower. And another big reason to start mowing lower is, for me, I wind up getting snow mold in the lawn, and by trimming this down just a little bit more, it can help prevent it. And I almost never mow on low. Now, having two mowers with completely different height systems, it's good to try and figure out how they work. So I know that when this is set to 4, it's about even with this one at that mid-cut range. And then with this, kind of about 5 or 6. So 5 would be a little bit low, 6 is a little bit tall, so it all depends on how you want it to look. But I don't mind it being a little bit lower, because when this is on high, so up in the H position, 5 is pretty close, but a little bit lower. 6 is a little bit longer, but I kind of like the little bit lower because I use this for trim. So this is all the edge cuts and stuff, and I'm fine with the edges and the trim being a little bit lower than all the rest. What I did right here was basically I mowed straight up and down this way with the riding lawnmower. You've got over here and that way is my normal fall cut height, so the medium level. This is the high cut height, summertime, and then this is the lowest cut height on it. And then I crisscrossed it with the walking mower, and you can see the walking mower, I started off with the highest one, so at about 6. So these 2 lanes here are 6. These 2 are 5. Then we've got 4 and 3. And 3, you can see, is pretty low. So it's the lowest out of all of them. 3 doesn't match any of the riding lawnmower sizes. So low, pretty much as low as you can go. And then that would be if I was kind of really trimming down a lawn. Now, granted, I could probably go down to the 1 and really just buzz it. But for most intensive purposes, the 4 and the lowest cut is what I would do if I was going to aerate the lawn. And then now is also a good time to kind of, dig out your aerator if you got one, or maybe rent one. So once you get your lawn mowed a little bit shorter, and there's a nice rainy day, or you feel like watering, you can aerate the day after. Waiting until it rains or watering your lawn and then aerating the day after means that the soil is softer and the aeration blades and stuff will go in farther much more easily. And then of course you can throw in your fertilizer or lawn care treatment of choice, and it'll get nice and deep in through the aeration holes. Same thing with possibly overseeding, and let that kind of hang out for maybe popping up before wintertime hits. For me right now, with as cool as it got real fast, I don't know how well that's going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. And worst comes to worst, the seed will be there for next year. And then, once you've got the lawn more or less kind of set up and mowed a little bit lower, you want to start looking at certain things like where you got weeds in the cracks of your lawn, or your driveway, your sidewalk, or whatever. So to prep you for winter some more, And for snow blowing or, you know, shoveling snow, you really want to get this stuff out of here. Some of it may go away once it gets cold enough, but otherwise, sometimes you hit this with a snow blower and you can feel that, you know, something's pulling or dragging. So just to make an easier mow, well, blow, I guess, not mow, I definitely recommend trying to get rid of it. So that's what I'll be doing. The other thing is I'll be edging on this side, because I haven't edged this one in a bit, but that'll make it really easy for defining out with the snow blower when you're doing it what's grass and what's not grass. That way you're hopefully snow blowing along what you need to. Now, there was certain projects I wanted to do this year, like fixing how this is not level, but there's going to be a major sewer project they're going to do, and from the look of it, they do stuff like kind of like where this right here is like brand new lawn or sidewalk. So they knock that all out and then relay new stuff. So I don't know if they're going to knock out the stuff that already existed that someone else knocked out, or if they're going to be knocking out any new ones, or old ones in this case. So this will be really interesting. It's supposed to be a no dig thing, so they're not supposed to be destroying like the lawn part, but again, who knows. You can kind of see I've edged this, it was back on like Labor Day, so a good month ago. So this is nice and wide, and you can kind of see there's always differences in people's stuff. So if you're not edging, you run into a situation like this where that kind of juts in a little bit right there. So you're losing a good 3 to 4 inches of walkable sidewalk due to the grass going over. And the reason why is because for some reason, like the actual soil is up higher than the sidewalk for most of us. So as I was driving around, it looks like most everybody's got the high sides. And I don't know if it's just due to, you know, this being a well-established neighborhood for quite a while, that either the sidewalk sinks down, or from all the mowing and all the lawn care and stuff like that, and the grass in general being there, that it's slowly built up, and gotten taller over the years. One of the projects that I wanted to do, besides straightening this stuff out, was I was going to kind of dig down, raise that up, that way everything was leveled, and I was going to dig this side down, that way the soil was about a ½ inch below this. Because when it's up high like this, you get this stuff running off, so too much rain is going to run off into like the gutter stuff, and then if you've got any kind of lawn product on it, it's going to take that lawn product with it. That way, take it to the storm drains, and then wherever your storm drains go, be it the water source, a lake, something like that. So it's kind of one of those things where you might wind up losing product if you've got fertilizer down, or even worse would be like any kind of like weed killer kind of stuff that gets washed away. So, because then that gets into a lake or your drinking water, and then it's like, oh boy, does this taste like? So, clearing this stuff out, clearing these little weeds out, that makes it a lot easier to snow blow and shovel, and I definitely recommend doing it. That way it's a lot simpler, because some of these weeds are a little woody, like this one here. So that would probably die off and stay woody and kind of angry. So you would definitely hit that with a snow blower or your shovel, and either bring you to a, you know, quick stop, or, you know, catch the snow blower and kind of kick you more towards the end of the lawn, and then you're like, oh, jeez, I didn't mean to do that. And then speaking of the snow blower, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, the earlier you can kind of get to it, get it dug out of wherever, you know, mystery location you had it, and then make sure that you've got good fuel in it, and get it, at least see if you can start it, is way easier than waiting until the snow flies, finding out this sucker doesn't want to start, and then having to take it to a shop with 40 other people already at the shop doing the same thing. Oh. And then you should probably remember that you're supposed to push in some buttons. Oh, and push the throttle all the way forward. Oh man, who remembers how to do these from from like 8 months ago? There we go. All right, so we know that starts. But it's also a good time to double check and see if you have to do any repairs. So if, let's say, you blew a pin and had to put a bolt in, make sure it's a stainless steel bolt. And then the last little thing to keep in mind is like snow blowing hazards. So if you've got a whole bunch of rocks somewhere that you don't want rocks getting kicked up and thrown at anything expensive, you know, take a minute, pick it up, move it out of the way. That way, whenever you actually go to snow blow, you've got a nice defined edge and you're not worried about, you know, throwing a rock through your siding or your AC. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll check you next time. Oh, my fingers are cold. They're so cold. Oh, the winter's coming back. If you ever have to figure that out, it's really easy to do what I did over here. Oh no, ice cream man. Do 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 do. Is that leaves? Yep, apparently I got leaves in here. Right here, on the edge of 3, you can kind of see that 3 cut it all down. Oh, ice cream man. Where this is easy enough to change depending on what you have. Whoop, that's a bit too low.